Hello, you awesome friends. This is your pal, Edwards here, speaking with my old friend from many, many years, the amazing Sarah Kono. Sarah Kono, great seeing you, and how are you today?
Very good, Edward. It's been a while that we actually haven't appeared on camera together, isn't it?
I know it's fantastic. And just to give some context, everyone, I know Sarah for many years. For a while there, I was a volunteer for the amazing New South Wales Sydney Business Chamber, and Sarah was one of their managers. And it was great meeting you back in the chamber days, Sarah.
Yeah, you were always a buzzy bee, and I was actually quite impressed by it. I tried to emulate it, and I'm hoping I succeeded.
Oh, you didn't succeed. You totally outdid me, and
I was wondering, actually. I was really making a big effort.
you nailed it. Look at you. You're a big shot now. You're a big shot on LinkedIn Live. I was just going to say, my friends, if you've just come in, please smash that like, share, and comment. We'd absolutely love to hear from you. And also to connect with my friend Sarah Kono. And just so you know as well, please to everyone, don't think I'm being rude. I do have my phone on because I'm using my phone to read your comments. So say hello and ask any questions. Now, Sarah, you're an amazing woman. You've worked in sales for years. You work in the areas of artificial intelligence and tech. You also do a lot of charity running, which I think is amazing. Tell us all about what you've been working on lately and share some of your cool learnings with us.
Okay, so maybe I'm covering two areas. One is the charity running, and the other maybe artificial intelligence while we're at it. For the charity runs, it's kind of in part it's of course charitable. On the other hand, it's also kind of a little bit for my own purposes to get fit, right?
And just to jump in there, yeah? You ran a marathon the other week, didn't you?
Yes, and I barely survived, but I knew I had like literally 3 weeks to prepare or something. Yeah.
So I think 0.0000001% of humanity can run marathons. So we all think you're very fit, Sarah. Like you've earned that title.
Oh, I hope so. But my story at the marathon was really hilarious, actually. But anyway,
Tell us the story at the marathon. This sounds funny. What happened to you?
Yeah, so I kind of prepared for it very intensely, running every day, like really maxing out kilometers to make it. And I thought I wasn't really well prepared, but it was okay, and that I could survive if I run slowly. But then the day before, I kind of bought my supplies because you always need like glucose or something to keep you running. And the supplies I bought were spoiled. And it was like, at first, like I took the first maybe just after I crossed the harbor bridge, so maybe fortunately a bit early. And then I noticed I got really bad stomach cramps. So I was running there with stomach cramps, right? So these ones I threw in the bin on the way, right? And then later on, it was halfway through, I tried another one because I was getting hungry, right? I didn't have enough supplies. And then for that one, I didn't get stomach cramps, but I felt I was like getting so tired. And I thought like, you're really losing it. You just don't make it anymore, right? And then eventually I just really literally almost had to give up. So I was sitting behind a tree, throwing up. So that was after taking one of those bars, right? And then afterwards I immediately felt well again and could run again. So it was obviously the supplies.
Oh gosh, yeah. I remember back in my government days, our marathon was called the Combat Fitness Assessment, and it's 36 kilometers, but but you're wearing a 20 kilos in your pack.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
Body armor and holding an assault rifle, right?
Like, oh my God, yeah.
And I remember what they used to do was they used to give us the gel, the gel packs back in the day. So every 5 kilometers, you'd eat one of the gel packs. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Those squishy gel packs.
Yeah, those are the ones.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
I don't know what I bought there.
But you did it though. You got poisoned. But you did it. That's amazing, Sarah.
I was creeping. I was quite slow, and then I wasn't keeping adequate like check of the time. So I think just within minutes from the goal, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna make it, right? I was just panicking for some reason, and I started to run really, really fast. And I think they might have it on record that I was like speeding past everybody going through because I thought there was a cutoff, but there wasn't actually a cutoff.
Oh, there you go. So Sarah is a charity runner, which is fantastic. And Sarah, We'll talk about sales and business networking a bit later. I'd love to talk to you about artificial intelligence. You're an expert in it. You post on artificial intelligence all the time. I use a little bit of it these days. Tell us all about artificial intelligence. What's happening and where's it going? And I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I think artificial, I mean, there has been some development, of course, over the years, but with the rise of ChatGPT, it's kind of been democratized so that ordinary people, you could say, have access to it. And right now there's a lot of development going on. And literally everybody tries to, I mean, it goes into all areas, right? From scheduling to cameras to, there's like literally nothing where there's no, where they are not at least trying to develop some sort of application for artificial intelligence, right? There is, however, also, I mean, there's this one side, but you also have these people you would call baddies, also kind of developing all kinds of automated ways now to go after people, right? So if you may have noticed, right, getting robocalls or getting drawn into scams with perfectly developed apps or perfectly developed websites where you think that can't be a scam, right? So they're also using it to automate and to make their operations more efficient. And I think the slowest ones in all this process is probably the government. Let's face it, they know it's a serious area, but they have always, like when I was working
slow. No, not at all. Really?
Yeah, which is normally it's not a problem. I mean, it affects us, right? If you stand longer in line, you're probably not gonna. Well, it's probably going to be okay. But now they're really, really not catching up anymore, right? Because it's going so quickly. There are serious risks attached as well, and the legislation. Even if they were to try to draft something, they wouldn't. I don't think they would be able to police it, right? So it's a little bit tricky. But what I believe, and that's why I'm also kind of posting regularly on LinkedIn about it, I believe it's becoming that important an area that we need to do, make a lot of effort to actually educate ourselves in the area. You know, like knowledge is power in a way, right? It's much better. Like, for example, if you didn't know about current phishing scams, for example, you wouldn't be able to recognize such an email, right? And the same with artificial intelligence when it's now being used for face swaps and whatever and deep fakes, right? And you wouldn't know, or your voice is completely, you know, someone's using your voice to call one of the organizations with stolen data or something, right? And you wouldn't know that it even exists if you didn't kind of educate yourself, right? On the one hand, but also on the other hand, you can use all these cool applications that really help you to make your life easier, right? For example, summarizing, you could just feed a document, summarize everything quickly instead of writing anything up at all, right?
Well, I was just going to say on that note, I actually recommend this to our clients and everything as well. What I love using, so again, I'm a LinkedIn Microsoft guy, right? I'm using a Microsoft PC. So you know on Windows 10, you've got Edge, right? The Microsoft browser, which is better than Chrome. Anyway, you've got the Bing IA chat in there now. So at the top right, you hit the B button. And what I found is that for free, the Bing AI chat is more powerful than ChatGPT, and it's for free. And I've tested it with some hard stuff. I threw some curveballs at ChatGPT and it missed. I threw them at the Microsoft Bing AI and it answered it perfectly. But yeah, I've just been saying I actually used. I'm giving away my secrets here. Sometimes when I run out of LinkedIn poll ideas, I've been using the Bing AI chat for LinkedIn poll ideas. It gives you hundreds of ideas that are amazing. So yeah, I love the Bing AI chat. Isn't it a very, very cool platform?
You do know that's ChatGPT, don't you? I think the API into it. But they will very likely have put their own layer so that you'd get certain responses and not others, right?
Yeah, there's a bit that confused me about, because I'm aware it's ChatGPT, but where, and I could be wrong, but what I did was I got some really difficult questions. And I'll tell you what the question was to give you some context. Have you read the Dune, you know, the Dune films, right? Dune with Paul Atreides, you know, Dune, the films and the books, right? What I did was I put together a really difficult question where I said, who was this? So in the Dune series, you have the Sardaukar and the Fremen, which are the two factions, right? And I asked this question, who would win in a battle, the Sardaukar or the Fremen, right? And ChatGPT threw the answer. Microsoft AI gave me this perfect essay on why the Fremen would beat the Sardaukar from Dune. And I thought, Now, I'm with Microsoft AI. So have they put in more layers to make it smarter or something? Have they?
I used to, for a short time, I was working at a startup focused on like developing a tablet, helping people with a disability to go about their lives more easily. And there's, of course, a massive, for them, it's really important that it works well. So they were kind of trying to put kind of a layer, like guardrails around the kind of response you can get. And given Microsoft is such a large organization, you know, I'm pretty sure that they have put controls around it so that that you get better responses.
Yeah, gotcha. So in other words, so I'm wrong. So in other words, I'm actually using ChatGPT via Microsoft, but somehow Microsoft has enhanced it to make it work better.
I'm not sure, but like at the very least, they would want some angle on the competition, right? And so that those responses would have to be kind of changed, right? What suits them better, for example. But I'm thinking very likely they will have adjusted, make some adjustments.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And also, just want to check with our fans. We've got Catherine Lai with us. Catherine Lai, big welcome. Got Catherine Lai is one of my old friends. We've got Brenda Holder. Good seeing you, Brenda Holder. We've got Ignatius Davis. Ignatius Davis, big thank you. And Ignatius Davis made a good share. He goes, this is the interesting part. Bing accesses, so Bing Microsoft AI. Microsoft AI Bing accesses the internet and can take input from similar answers on the internet that ChatGPT may have been trained on. Yes, that's what I thought actually, because ChatGPT is on its own, whereas Microsoft AI is ChatGPT plugged into Bing search. So that might be the enhancement that we're talking about.
I'm not actually, so frankly, I haven't used Bing AI yet. I'm just a very, very Chrome heavy person. Yeah, but that could, if they have real-time access, so they would be using ChatGPT 4, right? What do you use? 3.5 or?
Well, they actually said now, I could be wrong again. I'm talking out of, so if anyone's wrong, please go easy on me. But I think they said it's now ChatGPT 5. So you have a little button where you can hit ChatGPT 5 if you want with Bing AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look into it, I promise.
Yeah, no, quick question. Now, because again, you're in the I'm a Microsoft partner. So I want to ask you, right? Does Chrome have its AI yet? Or is it just a Microsoft ChatGPT thing? Does Google have their own AI?
Google is the major competitor, right? Google Bard.
So what's it called? It's called Google Bot, is it? I've never used it.
Google Bard, so BARD. Yeah, and it had from the very early beginning, it had like real-time access to the internet. So obviously Google. So and that was always the advantage in that space. The quality of writing is probably a little bit better on the ChatGPT side, but they're doing whatever they can to catch up, right?
So right now you've got ChatGPT, Google, and Microsoft fighting each other.
It's ChatGPT against Google Bard, mainly.
Interesting. I've never used it. And Ignatius Davis says, and thank you for correcting me, ChatGPT Plus's version 4 so is Bing. That's fantastic. There you go. So it shows you how little I know. So I was going to ask you as well, Sarah, this is fantastic because I know nothing. Tell us a bit about Google Bard. You got me curious now. I know nothing about Google Bard, being a Microsoft guy. How does Google Bard work? What's some of the cool stuff you've seen it do?
Well, the advantage is when I didn't have a ChatGPT 4 subscription, you need a subscription, right? I used Google Bard for getting me real-time answers, whatever I wanted to research, and I used ChatGPT for like writing ideas or correcting writing, right? And that worked really well together, right? Google Bard is very good at accessing the internet. Giving you very, I find it's like if I'm a writer, ChatGPT is probably what I would prefer. If I want a solution in a certain area, then maybe Google Bard is actually a good solution, as you would jump onto Google to research something, right? So it's a little bit, maybe their competitive differentiation is a little bit on the writing side as well, right? You want to draft an essay, maybe you take ChatGPT. You want to look up certain facts. Google Bard is really fast. It's actually quite good.
Yeah. Well, this is the limits of my knowledge. I didn't even know what Google Bard was till I spoke to you today, which is why you're here, Sarah Kono, because that's the whole point. It's interesting. I'm going to check it out because applying that logic, if Microsoft AI Bing, Microsoft using ChatGPT, if that integrates with Bing, if that's more powerful because the internet search, then I hate to say it, if Google Bard is using Google search, then how can you beat that? Because Google search is amazing. So imagine that. I'm going to go check out Google Bard after this and ask who would win in a fight, the Sadi car or the Fremen from June. So we'll talk about the Sadi car and the Fremen. So there we go.
I think the main issue is always when you're in a large corporation is always core business. So for OpenAI, ChatGPT, their core business is their big language learning model. So that's what they're focused on. And by that nature, they would normally be better than, would be more competitive than an organization that focuses in different areas. On the other hand, Google has absolutely massive scale, right? So they can pursue different, and it's also kind of a related area with their search, right? So they can also make very large investments. So it's a formidable competitor. But if it was a niche player, for example, and would cover different areas, let's take Microsoft as an example. That's why Microsoft purchased ChatGPT. If they would start,
does Microsoft own ChatGPT?
They do OpenAI. If they were to try to go and develop their
Sarah,
own,
I have no idea what's going. That's why we're talking. So everyone, just jumping in. That's why we have Sarah. I have no idea what's going on. That's why we have you here, Sarah. So there you go. Learn a new thing every day. Sorry, continue.
So if they were to do their own artificial intelligence agents, right, that would take away focus from their core business, so it would be very difficult to execute. But for Google, it's very closely related, and ChatGPT, OpenAI on their own are completely focused on it. So they would have absolutely whatever they do is going to contribute to their goals, right?
Yeah. So and just to check in with our fans, I've got to say, Ignatius Davis, thank you, Ignatius. We're a big fan of Ignatius. Some people might like WebPilot, which is another department of OpenAI. Awesome. Jonesy King, good seeing you. Jonesy King says Microsoft AI versus Google AI Bard and ChatGPT. Yeah, exactly. That's the way I'm seeing it. Catherine Lai, we love you. We've got Belinda Paris with us. Belinda Paris, we love you. So just to clarify, right? So you've got Google Bard, you've got Microsoft Bing AI, and OpenAI is owned by Microsoft. Is that right?
I think they are now, yeah.
Yep. And is ChatGPT its own company? So ChatGPT.
No, ChatGPT is the main product of OpenAI.
Oh, okay. So ChatGPT is part of Microsoft.
Yeah, essentially.
There you go. So there you go. Even Microsoft has tricked me. So basically, it's just Microsoft versus Google yet again.
In a way, yes. And it is always like that. But I think the good thing is you still want competition, right? Even more competition would even be better, right?
Yeah. So I suppose then, so in other words, so obviously being a I'm even wearing Microsoft blue today. So being a Microsoft sycophant, of course I'm team Microsoft, right? Love Microsoft, but don't tell anyone and I'm a top Google guy. So I get it. So basically you got Microsoft, which has ChatGPT and Bing versus Google plus, and of course they got Google Maps, Google Search, and they got Google Bard. So it's going to be an interesting fight to see who comes out on top here, isn't it, Sarah?
I think it is going to be balanced, reasonably balanced, I don't think. Which is good. You want competition. You don't want a single provider. That's a serious problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was just Google and Microsoft again. So I'm going to say I love it, Sarah. Now, moving on from artificial intelligence, I know you dip into other areas of business, such as networking and sales. I actually want to talk about sales for the moment, right? You've worked in sales for many years, longer than I have. Just talking purely about sales, what are some of the big sales lessons you've learned over the years that you'd love to share? Just talking pure sales.
I think there's a lot of theory out there, right, about how to improve I think that the most important, unfortunately, is still, and you know that, it's actually activity level, right? Even if you are crappy, right? Some people are extremely approachable. Some people are really hard to approach, right? But
Yeah.
the more you do in terms of activity, the more successful you will be, right? If you also take time out and improve what you're doing, then of course you will be more successful, right? But I think the majority of salespeople fail not because of a shortfall of knowledge per se, so they have kind of the baseline, right, with which you can actually do it, but they fail because of lack of activity.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I remember, like, I've really, and you know this is right, I've really worked hard to become a master at sales, especially over the past 12 months. I've been really every day, how can I become better than sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because 2 years ago, I felt like I was okay at sales. I wasn't that good. But you're right, because I've spoken to just so many people over and over again, it's so true that you might be good or bad at sales, but if you speak to a lot of people every day, after 12 months, you start getting really, really good at sales. Isn't that true, Sarah?
Yeah, you improve by doing, right? And if you don't I think it's not like salespeople are lazy, right? And not normally, right? Because it's
Some
kind
of
of
them
a
are. Some
yeah,
of them
I
are.
know, but it is kind of a profession where you are expected to work a lot, and you constantly have pipeline calls, right? Or if you're on your own, of course, your livelihood depends on it, right?
Yeah.
So you have to show activity levels, right?
Yeah.
But there are lots of distractions, and you can get easily lost. And the distractions also come from your prospects and from your customers as well, right?
Yeah.
So if you invest there, it's even a good thing to do, right? But if you do it and then you lower your prospecting levels, your activity levels, you're going to feel it next month, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. It's funny. One big thing that I do these days is now it depends because I'm quite busy these days, but I try and make at least, so on LinkedIn, I'll reach out to at least 50 people a day, right? Be it, hey, I've got a webinar tonight, whatever. But on the phone, I try and make usually 3 or 4 phone calls a day. Just be it I'm reaching out to clients, or be it I've got incoming sales calls. And I was just going to say, right? I was just going to say, what do you think? So activity is one, right? Lack of activity is what kills most salespeople. What do you think are some other mistakes that we make in sales? What are some other common mistakes that you see, Sarah?
It might also be related to activity level. Actually, it's
activity. Oh, there you go. Now we lost Sarah for a minute, and I can explain why. Sarah said to me that it might be possible that I get a call while we're on there. So what we're going to do is you're just going to hear from me for the moment. We'll see if we can get Sarah back. But Sarah said to me before this LinkedIn Live began, saying, Ed, everything may be okay, but I may get a call over a company PC. So there we go. So friends, what we'll do is we'll hang out for a minute to see if we can get Sarah back. But if we can't, it doesn't matter one bit because we've already gotten a lot of value out of Sarah Kona. So I'll talk about Sarah Kona for a moment. So Sarah Kona and I go back many years. Her last name is Kono, married to a Japanese guy, and she's obviously German. And anyway, Sarah's an amazing lady. She works in sales and business. She is an amazing lady that you can trust. And I think we've lost Sarah. I'm just going to send her a message right now saying, hey, Sarah, I'm just on LinkedIn Live talking about you now. If you can't get back on, feel free to jump on my live and say hello. So I just send her a quick WhatsApp while we're on there. But Sarah and I know each other for many, many years. Now, if you just come into our LinkedIn Live, smash that like, share, and comment. We'd love to hear from you. And I just want to do a quick recap of the conversation. Sarah and I were having a great conversation about artificial intelligence and everything. One of the biggest things that I found absolutely fascinating about artificial intelligence is I had no idea that Microsoft owns OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT, and I had no idea that Google had one called Google Bard. So my knowledge on AI has been absolutely appalling, which is why we had Sarah Kona on. So after this, I'm going to have a quick play with Google Bard, but you know me, I am a shill for Microsoft. So anything, and hence I had to wear Microsoft blue today. I usually wear purple, but when I'm talking about technology, no purple, we have to put on blue. It's also the color of LinkedIn as well. So there you go. So friends, I think poor Sarah has had some, poor Sarah. Yep. Sarah looks like she's got a work call and she's very, very busy. So I'm just going to say, Sarah, don't you worry about a thing. I'm actually on LinkedIn Live now and we're talking about you. So there you go. We might even have Sarah back. Hold on a second. Sarah, did we get you back?
Yes, barely. I'm at the office, so yeah, unfortunately, I was in a booth for a very, very long time, and now ran out of battery completely.
Well, no problem. Now, Sarah, we've already. I'm just let you know.
Mhm.
I was just telling everyone how amazing you were, and just going on about my love for Microsoft. But Sarah, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. Can we just get some closing thoughts from you, and how can people get into contact with you if they want to learn more?
Closing thoughts for me. I think building relationships is like the most important thing in every area of your life, and networking is sometimes viewed as some kind of sport, right? Like that you do, like when you join an association and then you go to one networking event. But it is so important, right? Nowadays, so many people get laid off, and it's just an awesome way to get connections, right? You can, if you're self-employed, you can get people to help you in your business, and you can collaborate. You get customers, get people to donate to fundraisers. You can do all kinds of things. So I think networking is kind of like the glue that keeps everything together. And I think people should really focus on it and grab any chance they can to go out, to go to events, to join this sort of LinkedIn Live, to join these sort of groups like yours, right? And that really helps you in all areas of life. I'm really active on LinkedIn, not so much on other platforms. Feel free to reach out anytime. You can drop comments or send me messages. I always try to get back to everybody.
Oh, pleasure. And just as a recap for our fans, Sarah works in artificial intelligence technology, and also you've been working in sales and networking for years. In fact, you've been working in sales longer than me, Sarah. That's why you're a pro.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, Sarah, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Sorry, our LinkedIn Live sucked out all the power of your PC. I'm very impressed. That's completely my fault, by the way. Sarah said, I'm low on power. I said, it'll be fine, but I'm wrong. I think LinkedIn Live just empties out the battery very quickly, doesn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, it does. And you shouldn't forget your charger at home. That's why.
There you go. There you go. But my fault. But you've had it before. Sarah Kono, please. Her last name is Sarah, Kono. Please connect with Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much. Know you're a busy lady. Appreciate you spending your time with us.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Edward. Thank you.
Pleasure. Love your work, everyone. Stay